It's time we do our weekly dive into some of the top celebrity and luxury real estate headlines from the last couple weeks. In this episode, we're getting into legendary architects, iconic artists, and an actor who kind of lost a lot of money. Let's do this. For our first story of the day, let's take a look at Halsey's house. She just listed this one. It's in Loz Feliz, California, and it's cozy. I like this place. She wants $5.5 million. Apparently, Halsey has only owned this one for 2 years, but according to Architectural Digest, that's pretty standard for her. She's been swapping luxury homes all around LA since 2019. The style on this one is Spanish Colonial Revival. It's an old one. It's a historic house. It was built in 1928. Sounds like this gate surrounds the entire property. The description says it's 230 feet long. This is what you see as you're walking up to the front door, and this is what you see after you walk through the front door. Me, this is one of those houses that feels old, but it also still feels very clean and livable. Like, I love this ceiling detail. I love the fireplace. These floors are awesome too. And then as we get into the kitchen, obviously this was updated at some point since 1928. We got the checkered floor and the bright green cabinets. It's a cool house. Not 100% clear why Halsey's selling, especially because when you look at the price history, she's not going to make any money when she sells this place after she pays her commissions and closing costs and all that. But either way, best of luck to her. Now we're going to head north for our next story. Bing Crosby's old house just hit the market in the Bay Area, and they are asking a massive $40 million. Bing and his wife paid just $175,000 for the house back in the 1960s. It's been in the family ever since, but the home has now hit the market after Bing's wife, Catherine, just passed away last year. I'll tell you this, it definitely is an estate. We've got over 13,000 square feet here and over 5 acres. The approach is amazing, and for how old this house is, very well kept. It's wild inside. Just look at all this wall paneling and look at the detail on this staircase. There's just so much history here, and it's a style that I'm not necessarily all that familiar with, but it's very cool flipping through these photos and just thinking about Bing hanging out here and probably coming up with some of his tunes here. We've got 11 bedrooms, 15 bathrooms. I mean, you guys tell me, 40 million at first glance kind of sounded like a lot, but is it worth it? Okay, so let's talk about this Kevin Spacey situation, which we looked at this property a couple months ago, so we won't spend too much time on this one, but there was a recent twist in the story that I thought was pretty interesting. His old place in Baltimore just re-hit the market. This whole story began when Kevin bought this place in 2017 for $5.6 million, but fast forward to 2024, he actually went delinquent on his mortgage payments, and the home ultimately went to foreclosure auction, selling to a local real estate investor. Well, that investor paid just $3.2 million for the house, okay? So that, I think, is a smoking deal. I mean, he paid almost half of what Kevin Spacey originally paid for the place. But what did he do with his new property? He didn't remodel it. He didn't throw it up on the market for rent. He relisted it for sale immediately, asking $6 million. It's kind of crazy flipping through some of these photos because it doesn't look like this guy did anything other than just take some new shots. He staged the place with new modern furniture, which looks great, and then he wrote up a long fancy description about how amazing the property is. He actually calls it the icon of Baltimore. If he gets his asking price, he's going to make around $2.5 million on this flip for almost no work. Not bad. For our last house of the day, we're going to look at the coolest house of the day. This one was designed by the legendary architect Pierre Koenig, and it just recently hit the market for $5.8 million. The place is already under contract. Pierre is responsible for some of the most respected mid-century modern homes around LA, one of them being the Stahl House, which I'm sure most of you guys have heard of. He actually used this house as his primary residence, though, so that makes this one special in its own way. It's very subtle from the street, but that almost makes it even more cool. I love the windows. I love this bench right here. Then as you round the corner, I'm assuming this is all like a central courtyard with a slider on this side, probably the front door over here to our left. And then look, if we switch the camera over this way, there's another slider facing the front side of the house. It's not very big. The place only has 3 bedrooms. It's got 3 bathrooms and 2,800 square feet in here. So At their price, they're asking over $2,000 a foot, which is kind of crazy. But hey, not crazy for everybody, because like I said, this one's already under contract. Congrats to that buyer. I mean, how awesome is it going to be able to own this piece of history? And congrats to the seller too. If you look back at the price history, the seller's going to make almost $1 million flipping this house. They just bought this same place 1 year ago for like $4.8 million. That's a wrap for this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button down below before you go, and I'll see you next week.